The English dub of episode 13 of Dragon Ball Super is back, and I am so glad it is back because last week was April Fool's Day, and Adult Swim / Toonami decided to give a whole bunch of their time blocks to Rick and Morty's season 3 premiere, which I was a little upset at first because I didn't get to watch Dragon Ball Super or Samurai Jack that night, but I did thoroughly enjoy the season premiere. That was my first time ever watching a Rick and Morty episode, and I did thoroughly enjoy and laugh at what I was watching with that. But this week, I am really glad to see that Dragon Ball Super and Samurai Jack are going to be airing tonight, and right now, we have episode 13 of the English dub of Dragon Ball Super, and all I gotta say is right off the bat, I've never seen Goku and the antagonist of a series laughing and enjoying themselves so much within a fight and then getting serious and going right back to punching each other in the face. It was just a weird dynamic that I have never seen in past Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z fights. Like, you've never seen Goku and Frieza laugh and then get back into a fight. Same thing can go with Goku and Cell and also Goku and Boo. You've just never seen that. Even with like Goku and Vegeta, they've never laughed and then got back into fighting, at least from what I can remember. So that was just a weird thing that happened in the middle of this fight, but it just goes to show that these two are just enjoying having someone on their level, or at least Goku, for instance, loves fighting an opponent that is a lot stronger than him. This is getting him like so excited, and he's just so looking forward to actually seeing what type of power Beerus possesses. But then on the other hand, Beerus is just excited that there's someone that could present a challenge to him, because it's been hundreds of years for Beerus until he's actually had a decent fighter come up against him and actually challenge him on the type of level that Beerus is. So it's just a weird dynamic between Goku and Beerus that I did thoroughly enjoy throughout this episode. But I just want to go right back to the beginning of this episode, because it starts off where episode 12 ended with this blinding light, and we actually end up seeing Beerus and Goku having the classic beam struggle that we kind of know from the series of Dragon Ball, but then the energy kind of condensed in on itself to where there's this very super, as the Elder Kai put it, super dense power energy orb, and there was just a beam struggle going on with this like black hole-ish, like condensed star power between Beerus and Goku. And for the first half of this episode, it's them going back and forth and then trying to basically get the upper hand on this struggle, and then trying to turn the tables on either with Goku with Beerus or Beerus with Goku. But down on the cruise ship, we have classic Mr. Satan, just talking with Whis, and I love the interactions with Mr. Satan and Whis here, because he's trying to plead to Whis, telling him to, can you tell the Lord that you're following, please stop fighting with Goku, just end this fight right now. And Whis is like, well, I can't do that right now. We're gonna have to wait it out and just see how this plays out. And then Mr. Satan, I love how the father within him, his father instincts kicking in, looking over at Videl and his unborn grandchild and basically pleading to him. And he takes out this marker. I love this moment right here, because at first I thought he was giving him an autograph, signed Mr. Satan himself. No. He decides to give Whis an all-you-can-eat voucher for the rest of his days, and Whis is very tempted at this point. I was like, yo, Whis, take that offer right now. Free food for life? I would take that up in a heartbeat and would be like, all right, guys, stop fighting. I need this free food right here, right now. But Whis, he's very tempted, but then ends up not taking the offer. He's like, sorry, I can't do that. I just gotta watch and just play it out. And right now, Mr. Satan's like, God damn it. But then the beam struggle finally ends with Beerus actually activating 100% of his power. And this is very interesting too, because if you think about it, if he's activating 100% of his power just to neutralize this attack, this super dense power orb, that means that Beerus throughout this whole fight still has not been using 100% of his power, which is baffling. And it's just how strong is Beerus, and what percentage was he even using up until this point when he's been fighting Goku? So we have this flash of light, and like I said, Mr. Satan's father instincts kicks in, and he ends up blocking Videl and his unborn grandchild from the beam. And I love how Gohan actually, works his way up, just leaves everything behind. His husband instincts kicks in, and he just goes straight to Videl, goes to protect Videl and his unborn child. And as much as you can say about Gohan, he's gotten weaker, a lot lamer. I love a character that abandons everything just to go protect his woman. And I'm like, Gohan, good job right there. No matter what anyone says, I like what you did there. Protect Videl, because Videl and Android 18 are probably my top 2 favorites for wives within Dragon Ball. And you go protect Videl no matter what. I don't care what anyone says about you, Gohan, go protect Videl, because Videl is precious and she deserves protecting, and I'm glad she is with you. So overall, I'm glad that Gohan stepped in to protect his wife, and then same thing with Mr. Satan. And I love the bit after it all ends and Mr. Satan's like, the power of love, my love for my child and unborn grandchild protected them from the beams and protected the world. It's like one of those fairy tale moments, and I was like, oh my god, Mr. Satan. This is like, I can't believe that like he was even saying that. It's like classic fairy tale tropes, and Mr. Satan is just like, yep, I just protected the world. Everyone, bow down to me. I am great. But then from that moment, we go back up to the Beerus and Goku fight, and the remainder of this episode concentrates on the Beerus versus Goku fight. And now there's actually some interesting knowledge dropped here, because I think we kind of know right now, and especially if you are like keeping up with the subbed of Dragon Ball Super, how it's like 80 episodes in right now, you should probably know by now that there are other gods within this universe. And they actually name drop, at least like Beerus does, saying like, I would be the laughing stock, or he mentions that like, I haven't had a fight with like other gods before, because his reputation right now, Beerus, is on the line, and he just like doesn't want to lose to a Super Saiyan God who just got his power and wasn't naturally a god or in some sort of way. So he wants to protect his image so that the other gods don't make fun of him, which I thought was a cool nod to add into this episode, just introducing the fact of those people that are unaware. It's like, yes, there are other gods. Beerus is not the only god of this world, and it just goes to show it's going to be very interesting too when we start to get introduced to the other gods, and I'm really looking forward to that. But the fight continues, and this is where the fight finally kicks in, and we get some good like punches and kicks going back and forth between them. And I love when Goku just gets like caught by Beerus and he just starts headbutting him. Goku has a hard head, as we've known from throughout all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Goku's head is hard, and he just like uses that to his advantage. That is like Goku's ultimate weapon, besides his teeth when he bites his opponents. But he headbutts Beerus, and Beerus, I love the line he gives where he's like, headbutts are for street fights, not for battle of gods. And I was like, oh, that's a good line right there, Beerus. But it's true. It's like, he's such a deity. He doesn't want to like go down to the level of some common street fighters. It's like, we're gods. We should fight like gods. And then Goku like is just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna fight you with everything I got. And so they end up going back and forth, you know, exchanging blows, and Beerus starts to notice something, and I start to notice this too as it's going on. It's like, Goku's ki it has a red aura around it is starting to fade, and Beerus notices this too, and he even points out to Goku, it's like, your god ki is fading, and eventually Goku reverts back to his regular Super Saiyan form. And right now, Beerus is like, well, you've lost right now, Goku, because right now your God ki is gone, you're back to being a normal human, a normal base Super Saiyan, and right now you can't rival me because your Super Saiyan God power has depleted, you are no longer on my level, and you're no longer like a threat to me. And this is at the moment when everyone down on the cruise ship starts to sense it too, because now they can actually sense Goku's energy. Even Piccolo is like, wait, how can we sense Goku's energy? And he's like, wait, that must mean that he's reverted back and has lost his God ki. And Whis like lays it down to him. It's like, yes, you are correct, your hypothesis is correct. And eventually he's just like, well, looks like Beerus is going to destroy this world. At least I have this souvenir of food that I can take with me. And I'm just like, wow, Whis, that is cold right there. But then Piccolo grabs his arms like, you're not leaving just yet. And it's like, just you wait, Goku is going to win this fight. And even Videl steps up and is like, yeah, Goku's going to win this fight. You just sit there and watch. And then at this moment, Vegeta finally moves. He's no longer like staring up at the sky. He ends up launching a ki blast in between Piccolo and Whis, and he doesn't say any words after that and just continues to go back to looking at the fight. And Piccolo realizes, like, is this a message from Vegeta? Does he realize that maybe this fight isn't actually over just yet? And as we go back up, we can see that Goku is actually still able to match Beerus in his normal Super Saiyan form, because he's throwing a few punches and then he disappears and then punches Beerus right in the face. And he does this twice. And so Beerus tends to realize is that Goku got so accustomed to the Super Saiyan God form, the strength and the speed, that now his normal body can keep up with that and is adjusted accordingly, which I think is awesome. So even though that this Super Saiyan God ki has depleted, his body has grown accustomed to the God energy and is still able to keep up with Beerus on a God level, even though he's reverted back to Super Saiyan base form. And then we're just left on this cliffhanger of these two going at each other, and with the narrator basically telling us that the conclusion to this fight will be coming next episode. And I'm really looking forward to see the ending of this fight and just getting into the new arc that's about to be coming up within Dragon Ball Super. And what's interesting to note too is like the ending also changed in this episode as well. And they kind of they showed a brief glimpse into Bulma's new look, which I think might be a spoiler for some people who have not been keeping up with Dragon Ball Super's subbed. And so this is just giving you a brief glimpse into the change that Bulma is going to be having to her overall design going into the next arc. But overall, a very enjoyable episode. Whis was very enjoyable for this episode for me. Whis is, like I've said, he's my favorite character that has been introduced in Dragon Ball Super, and I just loved his interactions with Piccolo, with Mr. Satan, and just his overall banter and just the way he talks. I just love his character so much, and I just really enjoyed the Goku versus Beerus fight and the new knowledge that got dropped on us within this episode. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this episode. Did you guys watch the episode 13 dub of Dragon Ball Super? And what were your overall thoughts on it? Were you guys pissed too that last week with April Fools, they actually didn't air this episode? Give me your thoughts on last week's whole debacle with April Fools, but also your thoughts on this episode as a whole, and just tell me what you liked and what you didn't like. And guys, and if you feel like subscribing to my channel and just overall talking about the Dragon Ball Super English dub, feel free to do so. I would love to talk with you guys on just when each episode comes out every week and just talking about, you know, the events that are going to be happening. I understand that a lot of people watch the sub, but I just like talking about the dub because it's what I grew up with. It's very nostalgic for me, and I know it is for a lot of people as well. So I just want to hear your thoughts, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I am really looking forward to the conclusion of this arc and getting into the next arc with next week's episode. So with episode 14 coming out next week, I'm really looking forward to that. So until then, I'll talk with you guys then. All right, guys. See you later.